Today we're going to be talking about the Modus Edge, Snap-on's factory-level scatter that covers over 49 manufacturers including Harley-Davidson, and also has a guided component tester built into it, which is an oscilloscope with training aids added. So looking at the scanner, we actually have a demonstration vehicle loaded. It's a 2014 Chevy Tahoe. If we do a code scan, the code scan is going to scan the entire vehicle and scan all the modules in the vehicle. What's good about this is as you watch the progress bar go across, it shows you what all modules that it's scanning, what it's talking to. A lot of times you'll have an issue in a module that is not the module that you're looking at, and it's good to be able to cross-reference and make sure there's nothing that you're missing. When it's done, you can actually hit the save button here. With that information, you can go on our Altus cloud server as long as you have 18.4 or newer software, and you can download all of your scans from the cloud server without having to connect to ShopStream Connect to get them down anymore. So that's a nice advancement. We see that we have two engine codes here, an engine misfire and a throttle position sensor code. What I'd recommend is going actually and testing the throttle position sensor, since we know that we have a code for it now. So you notice it automatically saved the scan for you. We're going to go back to the home button and go to the guided component test. The guided component test is using the oscilloscope that's built into the scanner, but with guided help for it. We're going to go to our Tahoe. We're going to go to the engine system, and we'll go to the throttle control and the throttle position sensor. So one of the great things about this is the component information, which explains to you how the component works and the theory of operation for it. So it tells you it has two different throttle position sensors that go from high to low voltage, and it gives you the connector view and all the wire colors for the connector. It tells you the best location to find and test this item, and it tells you where the component is actually located. Those aren't always the same thing. Sometimes the best location to test is not at the component when the components are in a hard or buried spot. So we have built-in tests. We have a DC voltage test, and you'll hear the unit make noise as it sets up the test for you. To see how to actually plug it in, we go here and it shows to connect the yellow test lead to the throttle position 1 signal and a black to a ground, and you connect the leads right up here on the top where the oscilloscope goes. And it actually tells you what the voltages should be. So you have a guided test here. You have the connector view, and you have the pins and whatever colors they are. And if you were to look at the scope, if we were connected in right now, you would see the voltage displayed across here. So if this voltage does not match up what the guided component test says it should match, then you know you have a problem with that sensor. You can actually go and do an outer range test, and you'll hear it make noise again as it resets up this test for you. And it tells you hook up the yellow to the low reference and the black to good known ground. Key on the voltage should be about 0.1 or less, and then hook up the yellow to the 5-volt reference, and your voltage should be around 5 volts. So you're checking if the signal is out of range or not. So this is a really good test to actually see if you have a problem with the throttle position sensor before you go and just replace it. So you have a lot of different options on the motor. So you have factory level coverage on over 49 manufacturers. You have the guided component tests. You have the ability to go in and actually see if the components are bad or not. And you also have the quick lookups information. The quick lookups is going to be your oil specs and resets, and the resets are more than just oil. It's also if there's a fuel filter reset, if there's brake pad resets, spark plug resets, air filter, cabin filter, all the different resets that are available. And then tire and wheel information is going to be your torque specs, the size of the lug nut, or the size for the lug nuts, and then what the tire pressure should be, and also have information for TPMS. If that vehicle is 07 or newer and has the TPMS in there, then it'll actually show you how to put it on and if it needs to be any special instructions. So this was your introduction to the Modus Edge.